For more on this, I'm joined by Howard Yu. He is a professor of management and innovation at IMD Business School. Howard, thanks for joining us.
Great to see you, Charles.
All right, let's talk about this because a few years ago, Uber was seen as a godsend. I can remember in traffic seeing the bus, New York City buses would, make $2,000 a week, $100,000 a year, and very few Uber drivers are making that anymore. Was it always going to be this sort of bait and switch kind of thing?
Uber is facing so many issues right now, and what you're seeing is people are not happy about the kind of income they're generating. At first, when Uber come along, they price themselves as, a potential opportunity to supplement your income. Is a side gig. The whole tenet about gig economy is you have a real day job to give you the security. And all of a sudden what we see is all these drivers, they're actually working full-time for Uber without any security in their employment. And I think this is where we see the backlash. And when I talk to data scientists, it's quite usual to understand how Uber try to change the incentive scheme so that they don't necessarily pay too much on the incentive to power drivers, in the sense that to reduce cost. And if you think about a company, that is the rational choices to make these kind of decisions.
Right. Although, this is a company that's highly public, though. People know it. And Robert Gray made the point, and you're underscoring it to a degree. Maybe it won't hurt them with respect to investors in Wall Street, and maybe not even their business initially. But this kind of publicity, I read a story, and it's not just in London and America. Indian Uber drivers talk of shattered dreams, making $1,200 a month down to $200, having to quit and go back to whatever they were doing. There were dreams. People had dreams in this. I know it was started off maybe in their minds as a as a side gig and a hustle, but a lot of Americans thought it was a way of freeing them, that they can work around their schedules, pick their kids up from soccer practice, and still work enough to pay their bills. And that seems like it's shattered.
Exactly, and that is the vulnerability of a company like Uber or Lyft, of all these platform companies. Essentially, they said they just simply provide a platform to tapping into supply and demand, right? But what we're seeing is, well, it's not that simple. In fact, you own up that social responsibility. People have ambition, people have dream, and if you don't deliver that promise, that would be backlash in terms of activism, in terms of deleting an app. And there's so much emotion we see now these days tying to Uber.
Yeah, no, I've seen today on social media, I've seen calls for people to use local cab companies. I've seen calls for people to start their own local business and offer yourself out to the folks in your town, that kind of thing. Yesterday, after Lyft announced their earnings, so the earnings were doubled, the revenue doubled. They said that this is the most they'll ever lose, but they haven't given us a path to profitability. There was also an announcement with Waymo. 10 cars are going to do a deal, self-driving cars in Phoenix. And I looked at the S1 for both of these companies, and you wonder about ultimately a path to profitability. So Wall Street may not care about the social ills, but they do eventually want to see these companies make money. Can they make money without going to a robot drivers? Is it possible right now, in your mind, for them to ever be profitable?
This is the fundamental problem of an Uber or Lyft or any platform model right now, because there's almost no path to profitability, because they're not investing in physical infrastructure in the past. They're simply burning money to buy market share. Unlike Amazon, right? Amazon really built up a lot of infrastructure. Uber has no infrastructure.
That's the distinction, huh? Because when Uber goes public, they're telling people, hey, we're Amazon 2.0. But you're saying there's a distinct difference.
They are not. They are not. If you look at Amazon, what they've done before going to IPO and after the IPO, during that 10 years, they're busy building up their infrastructure, the logistics, the warehouse, and all that physical asset. And that's the defensible position. Uber, all they have is some kind of algorithm, some kind of data, and some kind of app that is very easy and vulnerable for a low-cost competitor, a local player, to encroach the position.
Right. No real barrier of entry, no moat around the company.
Exactly. When I was in Singapore, I saw Grab all over. When I was in China, that's Didi. When I'm in the Middle East, that's Careem. All of these operations, Uber couldn't fight against. And
but Uber bought Careem, so that's one way they check that box. Howard, thank you very much. Great stuff. Really appreciate the insight.
Glad to be here.